All right, welcome guys to episode 145 of the Protein Bros podcast. One of your hosts, Jeff. And today we had an awesome episode with Ignite Chiropractic and Wellness Center doctors Elika and Dan Wells came and joined us. They're an awesome couple, awesome people. They started their own studio in the form of Ignite, and they talk us through the process of getting that going, what inspired them to open this their chiropractic center, and they talk through about some of their struggles, some of their personal struggles along the way as far as what got them to this point. And they also share some really fun experiences. For example, Dan was able to help out 4 different Paris Olympians last year at the Paris Olympics. They're working with the KU track and field team currently, and they have just a wonderful wealth of knowledge, and it's just really fun to listen and talk with people who are absolutely passionate about what they do and are striving to be the best at. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Ignite Chiropractic.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for being on.
Appreciate it.
So in this day and age, so few chiropractic offices that we've talked to offer just chiropractic services. What are you most proud of as far as the services that you provide? Because you're also a wellness clinic. Mm-hmm. So what do you think you guys help with people the most?
So my background was in sports and went to school for kinesiology, and I developed a real passion for like human movement and just studying, how to create success, whether it's in regular everyday life or in sports, with better functional movement patterns. And I got to study that a lot and research it in my undergrad, and then I carried that over into chiropractic. So being able to use that, and then I studied more heavily on the physical therapy side of chiropractic, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoy adjusting. I enjoy helping people, with spinal movement and things like that. But I think I really developed a passion for the muscular side as well. And I think that's what we're able to provide to patients on a higher level. You hear about a lot of chiropractic clinics where it's like, oh yeah, they went and, I got popped and I got cracked and it felt great and it sounded cool. And we love all that stuff. We love getting movement in the spine, but it's much more about how are you functioning. And a lot of chiropractic clinics, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus because everybody does a great job. Like you can be a great adjuster, you can be a great physical therapist. Everybody out there is out there to try to help people. But what I like that what we do is we offer a lot more on the soft tissue and muscular side, as well as training people on where the source of their pain is. Instead of just treating the pain and saying, okay, come back when it hurts again, we're going to say, hey, this is why your pain is showing up in the first place, whether it's your posture or you're sleeping. You mentioned sleep dealing
with it currently.
Yeah, sleeping on your side. I have a lot of patients that talk to me about that. And whether it's a lot of times it's what they do for a living that they can't get away from, or else, they have to quit their job. So it's like, this is where your issue is coming from. I'm going to teach you how to protect your body from injury and pain using our treatment. And then also teaching you, hey, out in the real world, when you're doing all the things that are hurting you in the first place, this is how I want you to move and function and position yourself in order to not continue that process of injury and pain. So we like to go a lot deeper into that, where when the patient comes in, they're going to get soft tissue treatment right off the bat. It helps the body to relax and to increase blood flow and to relax so that they're ready for the adjustment. And then we do a lot of therapeutic exercises, corrective exercises to help people with posture, with movement. We love working with everybody. It doesn't matter what age they're at, and just pushing people towards a higher activity level always. That's our goal. Doesn't matter how old you are, we're getting you in the gym. If you're 1 year old, we want you curling 50s, right? Just kidding.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Put
Some
those
milk
babies
bottles,
on creatine,
you
right?
know what I'm saying?
Elika, can I ask you what you specialize in yourself? What's something that you're really passionate about as far as how you guys like to do things?
So I'm currently studying functional medicine, and I want to incorporate that into our clinic. And that's why it's so important for me to add wellness clinic into our branding name. And so I am now entering my 3rd year of remission from Crohn's disease. And so I was first diagnosed when I was 11, and I worked with an amazing medical doctor who took me under his wing, and he taught me the ethics of trying to understand your own body in a more holistic and natural way, and using Western and modern medicine to incorporate those two to create the best, health and wellness lifestyle that I could for myself. And so I really wanted to do that for other people and for our patients, and to be able to incorporate functional medicine for others in the clinic is a dream and passion of mine.
Very cool. Very cool. I wanted to go back to the soft tissue work. When you say soft tissue work, I think of myofascial release, right? Why is that, so important for somebody?
Quite the name drop there, Kyle. You're just throwing out myofascial release.
It's in doctor words.
I don't know.
I don't even know what that
I don't
means.
know anything. I literally don't know anything.
We're
and
very impressed.
I just foam roll, and I know that that's what it's doing. And
What a vocab drop, though. Good job.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If I could get everybody on a foam roller, the world would be a better place.
I know there's people out there that say that that's not helping with my mobility, but when I foam roll my calves, my ankle mobility is way better.
Yep.
So anyways, I guess what I was getting at is is that when you say soft tissue work, is that what you're primarily talking about?
I would say a lot of what we do at the beginning, like I said,
Graston. Ooh, there's another good one.
There's a good
Graston.
one. Yeah, Graston. So there's a lot of different techniques for soft tissue work. The one that we like to use a lot is just compression. It's called ischemic compression. Just means you're pressing into the muscle, what actually helps kind of reset the brain's ability to send a nervous system signal to that muscle. Because when a muscle gets super tight and we have what you call knots, you feel like all knotted up, you can actually feel them like it's like a little speed bump.
My shoulder blade.
Right.
This is where I get all the knots.
Yeah, on the muscle, you can like roll over it with your finger. That's what we call a trigger point or a knot, or just where the nerve is not able to turn that muscle off in that area because it's either been overworked or we've been just loosening it or making it so fatigued because
sitting at a computer,
right? My computer workers, my people that lean over for a living, like hairdressers, nurses. It really doesn't matter. All professions, require some sort of postural deficit, and so that's where we try to teach our patients as well, is how to protect themselves in those situations. But we do a lot of the active release. So, kind of the pin and stretch, I've probably heard of ART, myofascial release. There's Graston. I do a lot of dry needling. They're all designed to increase blood flow to the muscle, which actually helps to heal the tissue faster and to release that nervous system tension on that muscle. And then what I like to do is a lot of here's another big word: dynamic neuromuscular stabilization.
Exactly, right? That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I knew you had that coming up.
I was thinking that you do that afterwards because, of course, that's the next logical
next step.
Yep.
And that's just a fancy way of saying I'm teaching your brain to control your body better, to turn that muscle off, so that you can actually control that, rather than just saying, well, I know it's going to happen again at some point, so I'm going to have to go back and get more treatment. Why don't we teach our patients to become self-reliant and know how to get rid of those issues themselves? That's what I would say I'm most proud of, is we teach our patients how to become confident in taking care of their bodies themselves. And then that in turn makes them trust us more and want to come back for maintenance care. Because either way, the spine is breaking down slowly over time, just like the rest of our body.
I would say mine is for sure.
I would say mine is too. I wake up every other day with something different.
Kyle sits on a donut.
Dude, what are you going to bring that up on the podcast?
Kyle drives with
tailbone
it.
injuries
Kyle
are a
drives
real
with a
thing.
donut.
Yep.
It's back. It's lumbar support.
He's got a
dude.
special pillow in his car.
Tailbone injuries are a real
For a
problem.
decade
We
now.
need to talk about it.
I
mean, he can touch his toes. I cannot. So it's just, there's trade-offs here.
I came home the other day and my wife had 3 8-foot trees in our driveway, and she's like, "You're going to have to plant these." And I was like, "My back, my spine, it's going to be spinal.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to me planting
Just
those
wear
trees?"
3 weight belts all the way up your body. stabilize.
Is the spine, when people come into you guys and they have issues, is that the primary thing that you're seeing is a lot of people that have lower back injuries?
I will say primary reason people come in is because of pain. Mm-hmm. People in our society care about pain, and that's what they care about. And that's just kind of what
Did you know that pain is weakness leaving the body, or no?
That's right.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's right. A lot of people have weakness.
Read that on a Marines t-shirt.
I guess I have a lot of weakness in my body. She can attest to that.
You say that to everybody as they're screaming as you're adjusting them.
You're so weak. It's you're getting stronger.
Dude, the chiropractor was really good, but man, he was saying some weird stuff. He always adjusting me.
Oh yeah.
You hear that? That's just the weakness leaving your body.
Sorry. Just builds character.
Yeah.
They're yelling. Yeah.
Sorry to get off track.
Oh, no, but I would say a lot of low back injuries. I'd say a majority because of technology. We see a lot of neck and shoulder issues. And then when we look at x-rays, which we take x-rays in our clinic as well, is you're starting to see the normal structure of the spine that should still be intact is actually starting to fold. And it never folds backwards because you don't ever see anybody walking around with their head up in the sky. They're always looking down, and it's the cell phones, it's the computers, it's the, people working on computers, in a medical clinic, or, people who do marketing or advertising. It's most of our lives are based off of a computer, sitting in a car, doing something, leaning
slouched
forward.
of some sort.
Yeah. Sleeping position. So.
Do you guys, because you'd mentioned posture quite a few times already in this podcast, do you guys have corrective exercise that you recommend for posture, improving posture, or what are you guys taking people through when you know that posture is one of the underlying reasons that the person's having pain?
Yeah, I'd say the foundation of what I do for my patients, obviously they come in and they want treatment, and I love treating patients, but I want to give them the resources to help solve the problem rather than just temporarily keep it at bay. So the corrective exercises that we give for low back, shoulders, mid back, it's kind of based off of our assessment, but a lot of times we're doing exercises to help people bring their heads back up on top of their shoulders. Because, the human head weighs roughly 10 pounds. You've probably seen that on the movie, but every 10 degrees that we shift forward, the head feels like it weighs another 10 pounds. So that's that much harder. The neck muscles are working to hold the head up in place throughout the day. And we're seeing just a huge uprisings in people with neck issues, with arthritis at an early age, like 30s, starting that arthritis process where it's like, you don't think of, you think of your grandparents saying, I got arthritis in my hands and my hips and, all that stuff. But it's happening in the 30s and 40s now, which is really insane because we're putting so much stress on our spine in that way because
people turning into the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, technology's really taken us that way. So we give a lot of exercises for the shoulders because I'm seeing a lot of rotator cuff and labrum injuries, and then just correcting the neck and shoulder positioning. Same thing with the hips. A lot of people are sitting for their jobs, so a lot of people arch their low backs and just pinch down right above the tailbone, and so we teach them how to correctly position the pelvis, low back, mid back, and then I do a lot of work on extremities as well: arms, legs, knees, shoulders. I played baseball in college, so I had all sorts of shoulder, elbow, and wrist problems.
What position were you playing?
I was a catcher. Yeah.
How's the knees?
The knees are fine,
Dear
but
God.
I'd say most of my injuries were in the gym still.
Yeah.
That's where I got most of my injuries, and I tell her all the time, I think the reason I'm able to help so many people is because I've had literally every type of injury that you can possibly imagine and have had to work through it. So, and she takes care of me because I'm got one new ache or pain every single day. She can probably attest to that.
That's pretty true.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing to my wife. I'm like, I'll come home and she'll be like, why are you walking like that? I'm like, I got this thing on my back. She's just like, shut up. You need to go get it taken care of or stop walking around like that.
Yeah, stop bothering me.
She cares less and less every day.
I want to ask you more about the functional medicine. How much school you got left?
So I just started the prerequisites part. So I still got a lot more schooling to do, but I'm really excited, and it's a learning curve every single day because there's more and more studies coming out, and just understanding now that RFK is getting rid of a lot of the food dyes in, you know, our foods in this country. It's going to help a lot with, you know, just overall health with everybody.
Yeah, I think it's
Jeff's
clear
disappointed that Red 40's gone. He's
Why Red 40? Yellow 5, dude.
Red 40's
I was a yellow 5
the
guy.
worst one.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Chiefs
Oh, I
colors.
didn't know.
I'm just saying yellow 5.
We
It's
got to
in Mountain
support the
Dew.
Chiefs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Red and yellow.
Red's not in Mountain Dew.
Oh,
Yellow 5.
Anyways, you said that your Crohn's is in remission. Can you talk about that? I didn't know that was like something that you could. I assumed that Crohn's was something that affected people for life.
It can't. Is Crohn's not considered autoimmune?
It's considered autoimmune. So you can be in remission, but there's that huge possibility that it can come back. And so a really cool way of me understanding how to heal myself all these years is another way of me knowing how to prevent it from happening again for how many more years. So.
What specific protocol helped you out personally?
An anti-inflammatory lifestyle. I don't really like saying diet because I don't really want to use that term. But lifestyle is really what I like to emphasize on, because it really is all about how do you balance your life with the proper, you know, foods that God placed on this earth, as far as, you know, eating the right protein, eating the right greens, and just staying away from anything inflammation for the body. Because the main thing where disease is located is where stress is located. And it's kind of the domino effect of, oh, inflammation was there.
Yeah. So basically, for those who are listening, maybe, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, is it staying away from high glycemic index carbs, staying away from like too much omega-6, I'm guessing.
Processed foods.
Processed foods.
Processed foods.
Shopping on the outside of the
different.
stores.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Everybody's different. And so majority of autoimmune diseases, a lot of times patients should stay away from that inflammatory markers. So
Crohn's, in my experience, my father grew up, when I grew up, my father had Crohn's and still does. He struggles with it all the time, and it's not something that's never gone into remission. But my sister also has Crohn's, and she's in remission, but she's had, you know, totally different experience than my father. And I know they differ quite a bit. And so my dad, growing up, he would say, like, you know how most people would take in vitamins and their body absorbs them. He's like, mine just throws it into the wasteland. It's like throwing it into a giant landfill. He's like, I don't absorb any nutrients. And so he's like, if I eat anything with like roughage, he's like, I'm just ruining my entire night. If I have a salad, he's like, my body will literally like just absolutely get wrecked from just eating anything with roughage, right? But if he eats Oreos, his body's like, this is great.
yeah.
He's like, everything's processed for him. Everything is packaged, and he does best with foods that are ridiculously processed, which is wild, right?
When was he diagnosed?
I think 76.
So how old was he?
25.
25. Okay. So he was 25 when he got the diagnosis.
But I think he had quite a bit of trouble in high school before finding that out, and he was having some really terrible time in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's a hard diagnosis to find. So when I was 11, a lot of the doctors, I went to 33 different specialists, and none of them could figure out what was wrong with me. I was in and out of Children's Mercy Hospital throughout my 2 months of having a summer. And I give credit to God, my mom, and my dad, and the medical doctor, Dr. Mullis, he saved my life. Went to 33 different specialists. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They were actually wanting to diagnose me with pediatric pancreatic cancer. So they wanted to start chemotherapy for me.
Oh my gosh.
And my mom's a pharmacist, and my dad, both of them just instantly had a feeling of like, this doesn't seem right. And a lot of times doctors would look at it as, oh, the textbook says that this person has cancer. But in reality, it could be different. And so my mom and dad, luckily, they were like, we need to take her to a different route. And I remember they contacted my grandparents' gastrointestinologist, and he wasn't seeing kids. He would only see a certain, population, the geriatric population. And luckily he said yes. He took me under his wing, and he was the one that ran all the tests, colonoscopy, endoscopies, TMI. But he's the one who found Crohn's in me. He's like, I don't understand why doctors wanted to go down the chemotherapy route, but this
what a drastic measure.
Yeah.
Without taking all those extra steps.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really important to do a lot of the testing. And so for your dad, finding out that processed foods might be more easier on him versus other foods, there are a lot of inflammatory markers for certain foods. So like for me, even lettuce for me is rough for me.
Right.
Or like foods that you think are healthy, it's rough on my body too. So it's a lot of times I truly recommend each person to take like a nutritional test for their own body and see what.
Do you have a certain test that you like for that, Elika? There's a lot of these at home ones and stuff now, but I don't know if you guys provided those tests yourselves, or is that what's coming for the wellness clinic side?
General food sensitivity tests are pretty good. They're not super precise, but it'll put you in the ballpark of what's your body's going to react to. Like it'll be crazy stuff. Like we did hers when she was first starting to be like, I'm tired of taking this medication. I'm going to be stuck with this medication the rest of my life if I don't do something about it. And as we know, Crohn's is a stress-related disease. It causes your body not to be able to absorb nutrients into the large intestine. That's why water becomes extremely powerful, because the more water you put in, the more you dilute those inflammatory markers, you're able to absorb more in the gut. So immediately she started doing research. She did the food sensitivity test and kind of went on a omission diet where she cut everything out and then started slowly adding things back in. And then we just started, over the last several years, we've just never stopped doing research on what types of foods and materials, even things, in our atmosphere, like, fragrances, what kind of cleaning supplies we use, what kind of things can we do to actively decrease the amount of inflammation in the body. And she did a really great job of getting rid of the foods that we knew were going to cause her issues. Like dairy was a big one, sugar's a big one, gluten's a big one. And those are the big three that I tell everybody. If you've got issues with inflammation, get rid of those three and you'll see almost immediate results. And then, she went into the food sensitivity test that we were talking about and just pretty much got rid of everything. And we found out, you need to be fueling your body. And she felt like she wasn't, necessarily fueling enough. But we got her on more whole foods. We got her drinking more water. And I think she went in, what year was it that you got your next colonoscopy done?
2023.
2023. And they went in and the doc was like, this is crazy. The ulcer that was in your large intestine is gone. So it was consistency over a long period of time, just reducing those inflammatory foods like the seed oils, the sugar, the dairy, the processed foods, limiting those as much as possible. And then, just reducing stress. It's hard to reduce mental stress in the crazy world we live in, especially with running a business and going to get your doctorate. But doing those other things really, really does help.
Oh, come on. That can't be that stressful.
Yeah, right? I should be adding more. I think I could do a couple more things, right?
Listen to this stat. I was interested in this. So I was like, how much are autoimmune diseases up since the 70s? They are up 300% during that time frame.
It's insane.
Since celiac disease, in the last 30 years has increased 5x. Multiple sclerosis is up 30% from 2013 to 2023, and inflammatory bowel disease is up 46% from 2006 to 2021.
It's unbelievable, and you can find those numbers across the board. Whatever inflammatory disease you can think of, you can do research on it, and it's up.
It's interesting, like how much of that probably follows trends of like obesity, but like it's obviously not all of that. It's like there's got to be the other aspects to that as well.
Yep.
But typically like disease will follow obesity trends because it's upstream from a lot of disease. But it's not. It's like, how old were you when you were dealing with that?
I was 11 when I was diagnosed.
See, that's crazy. It's like it'll be interesting if the FDA actually starts trying to uncover what's going on with that, because you guys mentioned like household cleaners, but really, if you're a consumer now, it's like you can't cut out all plastics. You can't cut out all, household items. You can't do all natural like hair and beauty products. I mean, if you tried to do all of those things, it is a daunting task.
You'll drive yourself crazy.
You'll drive. And that's why I end up telling, people that, you have to kind of pick and choose. What do you think your biggest ones are? It's like when I have the opportunity, like, there's very easy ones. It's like, don't drink a water bottle if it's been sitting in the sun. Don't put plastic in a microwave, those type of things. But, it's also, it's interesting the it could be something that none of us think about. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's anyways, I'm sorry that you've had to go through that. And it's interesting to hear you kind of that spur your interest into wanting to help other people with it. I think that, in a career, a lot of times people have personal interest or a personal experience with something and kind of come out the other side and then go into that field because of the success that they've seen or the lifestyle change that it's helped them with. They make the best person to go to when it comes to, in that specific field. So I could see that being, you in the future for sure. How much longer do you have to work at that?
It's a couple more years. So it's a total about 3 to 4 years. Yeah. To get that done.
Cool. Cool.
Dan, I want to talk a little bit more about your experience with athletes.
Sure.
You mentioned how obviously you were a college athlete yourself, and that you've gotten every injury known to man. And
Pretty
so
much.
that's been helpful, but you talk about a little bit.
My pinky hasn't.
This is the only thing left.
Yeah, I think that's good still.
Only a matter of time.
Yeah, I just jinxed it though.
You got a experience with working with some really high level athletes. I want to say 4 different Olympians from just the Paris Olympics.
Yeah,
last year.
Yeah, we got some really cool opportunities when I was telling you, we were up in Nebraska. I got connected with the University of Nebraska track and field team through some friends that referred me over there because they didn't have a chiropractor and they'd been looking for one, and the head coach was, interested in having me on, and I started working with an athlete named Peyton Alderdahl. He's a shot putter for the U.S. team. He took 4th in Paris. He was this close to getting that bronze medal. It was crazy. He's an awesome guy. He's become a good friend. His girl, he's huge. He's one of the strongest people I know. But
it's so nice.
Otterdahl is a name that just demands a little bit of respect.
It does. It does. He trains with Ryan Krauser, and Krauser's probably the best shot putter that the world's ever seen. So that's a pretty cool thing that we got to work with him. He came to the clinic, became good friends with him and his fiance. She's the assistant coach at UNL. So that's how we got connected with that team. And then they had a few other kids that went to the Olympics from there. And then another javelin thrower named Maggie Malone. She's awesome. Just 2 great people. You love seeing people that are that great of people have that kind of success.
And humility to go with it.
Exactly. Those are good role models to have. But getting to work with them was really, really cool, and that just kind of opened a lot of doors. Just because I like to go a little bit deeper into the functional movement. There's a lot of great chiropractors out there that are really great at adjusting and great at treatment. And I love doing that for people. I just want to go deeper into the functional movement because that's all I was ever concerned with when I was playing sports is like, okay, why did I hit a ground ball there instead of hitting a line drive to the fence, right? Was it because my elbow was here? Was it because my hips shifted this way? Or is my back too tight? I can't rotate the way I'm supposed to. So I started thinking about that a lot, and that transitioned over into being able to help other athletes with their movements. And turns out, track and field has a lot of similar movements, especially the throwers, because they're doing, the rotation, they're trying to get the hips through, create power, and then, create, power and
torque
whip through it. Yes. Great word, man. He's on point with the words.
Let's
today.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And she's from Sweden. She's awesome.
That's some torque.
Her name is Axelina, so that demands attention.
Another name
too.
that demands some respect.
Yeah, she's
Axelina.
She won the indoor national championships this year. So
Swedish.
yeah, she's crazy.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah, she could
Some serious power.
rip me in half.
Yeah.
But,
We got any others? Come on, Luke.
pulling them up. Maggie's on
Come on,
there
Luke.
too. On her.
Where's Maggie, dude?
Yeah.
What?
Brother.
She had the previous college record, and then the other girl that we worked with at UNL broke her record, actually.
Do you think you could throw a baseball harder than her?
No. No. She's got serious
that is
power.
insane.
She scratched her own butt from over her shoulder.
Yeah. No, she's
You know what I'm
just
saying? She reached
No, I
back
don't.
over her shoulder
I don't know what you're
and
saying.
could scratch her
yeah.
own ass.
No,
Did you see
she's,
that?
She's a great person too.
She's amazing. She's so sweet.
All right, one more of those. Give me another
Yeah,
accident.
that girl, the girl standing next to her, she broke Maggie's record, and she's from, I believe, the Bahamas.
This one, yeah. Was this like a golf simulator for shot putting?
Right. Yeah. There's a big screen up there.
Yeah.
You get to choose any shot put ring in the world.
That'd be unreal, though.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
I feel like I don't know anything about shot put, but Iceland's got to be good at shot put, right?
You'd think.
You know, they
U.S. has got it pretty much covered. And
Did
then
they?
a guy from Jamaica came in out of from nowhere and had the best throw of his life. That's how Otterdahl dropped down into fourth place. So,
Jamaica?
Jamaica, yeah. Left-hander, too.
Wow.
I see a lot of those.
Let's talk a little more about your time up in Nebraska, Dan. You
Yeah.
spent some time at Advanced. Let me finish the sentence. Advanced
Chiropractic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They, you got some time after school to be able to kind of learn the ropes, if you will, on the business side of things. What have you carried over into your guys' own practice that you really admired about Advanced? Then what's something that you guys put your own spin on things that maybe you like the way that you guys do it a little better?
Yeah. Just getting that mentoring from my boss and getting the opportunity to make mistakes.
What was his name?
His name's Travis.
Shout out Travis.
Yeah, shout out Travis. He's helped us a lot. He's invested in us in time, energy, money, helping us get our practice started. And he has done that for other, chiropractors as well who are trying to get started. But just learning the process of just day-to-day operations, learning how to create a functional business, really. If you strip the chiropractic off of it, it's a business at the end of the day, and it has to make more money than it's losing. So that was kind of the first time my brain had really even thought about that. I'm 5 weeks out of school. I'm pretty new to everything, and it's like, okay, here's a practice, go ahead and get started. And it's like, okay, that's scary. But having employees,
look at overhead expenses.
right. What's the profit loss?
Yeah.
It's like, when do I actually get to make money?
Yeah, it's like I don't even know, what day it is. So, but anyways, it was extremely valuable. I got to learn how to not only appreciate all the decisions that go into just running a small business, much less multiple at the same time, and learning how to treat people, learning how to take care of my employees, how to direct employees. I've never had an employee in my life, and all of a sudden I've got multiple, and I'm supposed to tell them what to do. And some of them are older than me too, and I'm like, this is not going to go well. So just had a really great experience learning, insurance is its own nasty game that we have to play, and learning that process. And then just learning how to actually grow a business, because every business is different. And we were talking about how you guys are working on growing, your brand and your business as well. It's seems like it would be similar, but there's such different ways of growing each one because they all do different things. So with chiropractic care, we had to learn that, it's a lot more about how you connect with individual people and patients and things like that. And it taught me how to empathize with people, how to see their pain, and how to actually care about them. Whereas a lot of people that would come into my clinic would be like, I'm coming from these other doctor's offices where I feel like a number. I feel like I'm getting shuffled in. I'm waiting for an hour, and then I see the doctor for 15 minutes. He barely looks at me, and then I'm getting shuffled out the door. And it's like, as soon as I go in, I want to leave. And we wanted to create an atmosphere for patients where as soon as they come in, they know they're welcome, and they know they could stay the rest of the day if they wanted to. And that's how I think we've been able to create that atmosphere in our clinic for patients, and just learning how to be outgoing, learning how to meet new people. I mean, that's how I got the opportunity with KU track is just going out and meeting people and learning who they are, being interested in them. And, that's what drove our success in Nebraska, because it's in a small town right outside of Lincoln, very small population. It's hard to grow a business when you don't have a very big market. And Overland Park is completely different. You got 200,000+ people, plus all the cities surrounding that you can draw from. And we are trying to come up with creative ways to grow this business. And I'll say face-to-face marketing across the board has been what has gotten us there. It's learning who the doctor is, seeing whether or not they actually care about what they're doing and who they're doing it for. Are they doing it so that they can get as many people through the door as possible, or are they doing it so that they can make specific connections, personal connections with their patients? Kind of like what you were talking about with your business. You want more of a personal connection with the customer rather than just, this is where I go to get my supplements. This is, you're talking about your branding and the thing you're about to put on the wall. This is a social transaction, a social commitment to what we believe in. Mm-hmm. And that's a great way to put how we like to run our business. Is we want people to believe in what we're doing and see the difference and create ambassadors for natural health. Because at the end of the day, that's what our clinic is about. It's about creating natural health. She hasn't had to take her Crohn's medication for almost 2 years now. And most people are imprisoned by medications. After the age of 60, the average amount of medications a person is on is 12. And that's the rest of their life.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we work all of our lives, 30, 40 years, and then we give all our money back to the healthcare system, so back to the government. And with whether it be with surgeries, whether it be with medications, and then we become less and less functional and have lower and lower quality life. And our mission is to reverse that mentality, which is you don't have to create lower quality life as you age. You can actually get better. You can improve.
Increase your health span.
Right. You can increase your entire lifespan. I've told people before, what you're doing right now by protecting your spine, which is also essentially protecting your nervous system, which is the system of the body that controls everything else, is you are adding years to your life, high quality years to your life. A lot of my patients that come in that are in, that age range of 60 up, I'm like, I want you playing pickleball when you're 100. And the common response I get is, I don't want to live that long. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's how bad they hurt. Yeah. Because they can't even imagine being in pain like that for the rest of their lives that long. Yeah. And then I flip it around and I say, what if you felt great the entire time you lived till 100? And then they look at you and they're like,
could you make that happen?
That meme, they're like, well, that would be interesting, right? Mm-hmm. That would be different, right? If I felt great and I could get stronger and I could get faster and more athletic and go hang out with my friends and travel and not spend all my money on stupid medications and surgeries, then like, hell yeah, let's go, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly the type of excitement we're trying to create. And that's, where we got the word ignite from, is we want to ignite that, excitement for life again, because some people have completely lost it. You can see it in their eyes when they come in. We have a couple patients right now that have severe post-concussion syndrome, which is when you get a concussion, you know, you have the headache, the light sensitivity, you got to wear the sunglasses, but just picture that never stopping, you know, for years. And then you're just in a constant state of maybe 25% energy and headaches. And, you know, the biggest thing you do that day is, you know, you showered and lifted your arms up above your head to comb your hair.
And they lose their jobs over it too.
Yep. We had a patient lost their job, just couldn't go out and see their families. You know, they have grandkids and they can't see them, can't do the normal things that all of us, you know, somewhat take for granted sometimes, where it's like, oh, that's just a normal everyday thing. These people can't even do that because they're in that much pain. And about a month later, you start to see them walk in the door with their eyes wide. They start to smile and they can't wait to tell you what new, you know, activity they were able to do. It's like, oh, I took my grandkids to the zoo and we were there all day. That's a normal activity for most of us, right? They haven't been able to do that in years because they've been in so much pain. They couldn't even, you know, take a step outside of their door in the morning. So just seeing people get that excitement for life. Like I listen to music.
For life back.
Yeah, they're like, I listen to music on the way here. Music has been making my head hurt. I listen to music in the car. And it was just, it blows me away every time, because every time we hear something, we're just like, man, that's really a good validation of why we're doing what we're doing, not just for athletes, but for everybody that wants to have a higher quality life. So,
man, that couldn't, I think that's the perfect way to put a button in this thing, man. That was a perfect, you know, way of explaining not only like what you guys provide, but the passion behind, you know, what you guys do on a day-to-day basis. And I think you eloquently put that. So
I appreciate it.
We want to ask you guys the question we ask everybody on our podcast.
They're both from KC.
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
That's right.
Yep.
Only Elika I've ever met.
Oh,
Two things. Now, one, who are the Chiefs drafting tonight? Because you guys have got to be Chiefs fans, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Do you
time
have a certain player you have in mind marked on your draft board? I know you built it today.
Here's the thing about me. I love sports. I pay zero attention to them. So that's...
Are you
that's
busy
me.
or something?
Yeah.
What you got going on?
I'm just busy, like, you know, just goofing off. I don't do anything.
Hanging out.
Nothing.
Well,
She does
hanging
all
around.
the work.
Well, I'm not busy, but
They just
I know
keep me in the back.
the top 100 players' stats, their height, their weight.
Brett Veach went into our
Previous
Lee Summit
bowel
store the
So
other
who do
day.
you think
Oh,
they're going
nice.
with tonight?
We asked Brett Veach, shout out Brett Veach, Lee Summit customer. We asked him, what do you think? Who you taking in the first round? And he said, I'm not. I'm trading back. You heard it here first.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
He won't be in the first round. Okay. We're trading back. You heard it here first.
Sucks.
Second question.
I don't want to hear that.
No, it doesn't, dude. There's
You
a lot
don't think the tackle is going to be there that we need? You don't think we're going to
Josh
go
Simmons.
tackle?
No, I think Josh Simmons is going to be
We're
going.
going
But second and
to
third
defensive
round, we'll
line.
kill it.
Sorry.
Barbecue, the other most important thing to Kansas Cityans. Alika, are we allowed to have this on our diet?
I mean,
We make room.
She does love
Pretty
the
inflammatory.
I do love barbecue. Yeah, it's pretty inflammatory, I will say. I mean, one of my favorite spots is Q39. Love
You only get
Q39.
one, though. You only get one.
Only one? That's
Yeah, you
hard in
can-
Kansas City?
The Jason Sudeikis answer, which he was asked on Hot Ones, he gave a tour day KC. He was like, if I'm getting ribs, I'm going to Joe's. If I'm getting fries, you know, sides, I'm going to Jack Stack.
Mm.
He's like, protein, I'm going to go with, you know, he's like, I'm going with, you know, pork. I'm going with, you know, Q39. You can give us an answer like that if you're that particular, but we like to give everybody only just one chance. Like if you have people coming in town, you got to show them a good spot.
Yep.
Where do you take them?
Well, I'm kind of particular like that too. So I guess me and Sudeikis are basically
Brother.
best friends now.
Totally.
Sudeikis, okay. If you're getting beans, you got to go Jack Stack. And brisket too. My favorite burn-ins are at Q39.
Top brisket Jack Stack.
That's for right now. I haven't tried.
Didn't
as
even
many.
mention the cheesy corn. Crazy.
No, I'm more of a beans guy.
Jumped away from the cornbread
Like
as
the
well.
beans. My digestive system flowing.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
Respect.
So and then the burn-ins and then sandwiches.
Magical fruit.
However,
Casey Jones.
I like Joe's, the Z-Man.
Yes.
Yeah, had one
I
at
like
the
the
Royal
Z-Man
Stadium.
I love that they're at the Royal Stadium now.
I know.
Right?
It's
Kaufman?
just as good.
the Rocket Pig. Ever had it?
The Rocket Pig. No,
Not good on the.
I'm a
if
Z-Man
if
for
you're, If you're not a
life.
spicy fan, I don't know if you're a
Oh,
spicy.
huge spicy.
She's
The
a
Rocket
spicy
Pig,
guy.
fried
Tabasco and
jalapenos on that
everything.
Rocket Pig.
That sounds
That's
amazing.
That's the other like most famous sandwich at Joe's. But if it's got if it got spicy stuff, I'm always the one that picks that.
There we go.
Me too.
Well, tell everybody where they can find you guys. Where you guys located, where your social medias are.
Yeah, so you can find us at Ignite Chiro and Wellness on Instagram, and then we are on 161st and Metcalf, facing Metcalf right off 69 Highway.
Down in my hood.
Yeah,
dog.
just a little bit south of the Walmart there, if you know that place there, Blue Valley High School. So alma mater, shout out Blue Valley.
Heck yeah.
Go Tigers.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Appreciate it. This has been
having us.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate your
course.
guys supporting our business over the years,
Absolutely.
and we hope we can do just a little bit to help return that favor for you.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your
Thank you so
time.
much.
All right, guys, if you've made it this far, you've gotten to the end of the episode. We really, really appreciate you taking the time and spending your day with us. As always, we'd really appreciate any kind of support you can give to the show. If you're new to the show, we do not run ads. We do not do anything to try to collect a fee. All we ask is that you guys please support the podcast, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and give it a share. So if you've gotten this far, thank you again for listening and making us a part of your day.